Good evening. There have been many changes since our video update last week. The most significant change is the Commissioner's mandate to return to in-person learning 5 full days per week at the elementary and middle school levels. From the state's update. For many districts, this will be a substantial programming shift mid-school year. Families should expect that districts may need to make challenging trade-offs to accommodate a full in-person instructional mode. For instance, if students are currently learning in a hybrid model, the shift to more in-person days may require changes in classroom learning spaces and, in some cases, teacher-student assignments. If students are currently in a remote model or choose to learn remotely when these new requirements go into effect, the remote learning option may look different than the model offered prior to the implementation of these new requirements. The key word is disruption. The state has given school districts an April 5th deadline for returning elementary students to 5 full days of at least 5 hours of instructional time per day. The state has given school districts an April 28th deadline for returning middle school students to 5 full days of at least 5.5 hours of instructional time per day. We have created new school day schedules. We are working on new bus routes. The next critical step are parent surveys.
Parent surveys. The district is sending out an elementary parent survey today. Please fill out the survey only if you want to change the mode of your child's instruction from full remote to full return or from full return to full remote. Again, please fill out the survey only if you want to change the mode of your child's instruction. The greater the number of changes, the more disruption there will be. If there is a significant number of changes, we may not be able to meet the April 5th deadline for all students. The state is providing districts 4 to 6 weeks to accommodate a student whose mode of instruction is changing. The middle school survey will be going out next week. Again, we will be asking you to only fill out a survey if you want to change how your child or children are being educated, full remote or full return. If already in the hybrid model, we will assume you want a full return unless we hear otherwise. We may send out a high school survey next week, although we do not have a mandated state identified date to return high school students to full in-person schedules. The state directive was to be ready to make this change with 2 weeks' notice.
COVID mitigation. The district is attempting to maintain our COVID mitigation measures in these new schedules. The state guidance allows for 3 feet of masked social distancing. Unmasked activities such as lunch still require 6 feet of social distance. All students will need to remain in masks for the full days unless provided a supervised mask break. In most cases, lunch for elementary and middle school students will be in their classrooms. Some other changes. We will be limiting other changes while we focus on implementing the 5 full day schedules. In other words, we will not initially be expanding bus ridership for elementary students. We will explore expanding elementary ridership and establishing new routes as part of the changes needed to combine the middle school cohorts. We hope to have more bus options closer to the end of April. The after-school program hours will initially not change, and it will continue to end at 4 p.m. We will look at options like extending the end time until 6 p.m. once we better understand the impact of the full-day elementary schedule. Again, the expanded hours may be available closer to the end of April after our April break.
Vaccinations. All of these changes will be easier if our educators and staff get vaccinated. We understand that the state is stating that vaccinations are not necessary for the return to full-day in-person school. We are working with our teachers union and other unions to gather information on how many of our teachers and other staff have been vaccinated, are waiting for their second shot, or have a vaccination date scheduled. It is our hope that all of our teachers and support staff can be vaccinated or in process by the April 5th mandated full return. The transfer of teachers. We understand that some of our educators who have been teaching remotely are doing so because of health concerns. Our plan is to move these teachers from remote assignments to in-person assignments last. In so doing, we may disrupt existing remote classes if enough students choose to return to full-day in-person instruction. And finally, our gratitude. We are grateful for our building principals. In a more normal year, it takes principals all summer to prepare for a smooth opening of school. We are asking our principals and assistant principals to essentially prepare for a new school opening in 2 weeks with schools in session. We are fortunate to have such talented, dedicated, and experienced school leadership to manage these changes. Their prior summer planning has allowed our schools to remain open safely to date. Thank you.